Hey, YouTubers, I'm Kodo,
I'm Sid,
and welcome
and we are the
to.
Sequence Breakers.
Yes, we are the Sequence Breakers. Welcome to our first vlog or vlog. We are currently using the Wii U chat app for this. Just it answers one of our.
It's a pretty innovative technology.
Right,
I've never seen it done anywhere else ever. Well, at least
right.
not on a console.
Well, yeah. no, the first Wii
Oh
had
wait,
something like it, didn't it?
I've never heard of
You
that.
had to buy this camera thing to go with
Let me
it.
see. No way that
I think it was a
Wii
Skype.
video, maybe in Japan only.
I don't think it was
Oh wait,
Japan only. There was a Skype. It was either a Skype app or it was just a first party app or something.
I've been on the Wii shop recently, and I never saw that there. So
All right. Well, welcome YouTubers to our first vlog. And
all right.
probably didn't want to hear us start off by
And,
talking about the first generation Wii chat app, but all right.
Which probably doesn't exist because I've never heard of that.
No,
But
I've
okay.
seen it. I've seen it, but
Okay.
I don't know. All right, so topics for today. I think we should probably start out with a pretty big event that's coming up, E3, which is. Do you know when that starts, Sid?
I have no idea when that starts.
I think it's
When
like.
does it start?
Is it June or March or
E3.
something?
I'm pretty sure it's summer, usually.
Right. It's coming
Let's
up
see,
pretty soon.
E3. Well, all this information is at my fingertips. So let's see. The latest E3 was held. Wait. Okay. The next Electronic Entertainment Expo will be held from June 11th to June 13th, 2013.
Right.
Okay,
Right. So
there you
so
go.
in June. So it's coming up pretty soon, within the next few couple months. And do you want to make any predictions about E3, Sid? Like what are we gonna see? What do you think?
Well, okay. Sony said that I think Sony said this. They said that they're not going to release any. Well, actually, I'm confused. It was either Sony or Microsoft. They said that we're not going to release any. We're not going to announce our console until the other guy announces the console. So
Right.
maybe one of them will announce the new console. Actually, yeah, the 720 seems pretty likely that
Right.
it's pretty much all over the news. So
Well, see, when the
yeah.
Wii U first came out and people were all abuzz about, oh, everyone's gonna start announcing their consoles now. I saw a newsletter from the president of Sony or whatever, and it said, no, we're not gonna announce a new console for at least another year. And it seems like maybe a week after that, everyone's like, oh, well, they've already leaked all this stuff, and I guess they gave up on not announcing it and said, oh, yeah, we're working on it. Because the original newsletter said they hadn't even started development on it. Either that was a huge lie, or I don't know, maybe they just rushed into it.
The funny thing about all the news for the 720 and the PS4 is the fact that they all share the same theme, that they all sound kind of like grim or dark or depressing. Like,
Right.
you won't be able to get used games on this, or you always have to have an online connection if you want to play this system. Like things like that, which sound like they're more oppressive in nature. So hopefully those aren't true, because
Well,
that would be pretty terrible.
that could just be gamers just, doomsday gaming coming, or I don't know. It's just we always assume the worst things about the next console, like, oh, well, it's not going to have this or it's not going to have that. And then some of those fears get put to rest.
I remember before when a new console was coming out, they were like, "This thing will suck your dick. It's great. It's everything you want it to be. It's made out of gold." Like, but now it's just depressing stuff. Like, yeah, this is pretty much just AIDS. You don't want this. That's pretty much what they're making it come across in the
Right.
news.
Honestly,
think-
I'm not entirely sure that I want to see a new console come out. I mean, after the Wii U just came out, I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I feel like the Wii U just
Can be-
caught up, and now all these like Microsoft and Sony fanboys want to see Sony or Microsoft release something to kick the Wii U's ass or whatever. And
Well,
I don't know. Well, it's not
well,
that.
I wouldn't.
It's not like I wouldn't put them past. I wouldn't put it past them not to do that. But I feel like with the Wii U just catching up, this is what the Wii should have been. And honestly, with 360 and the PS3's current power, I wouldn't necessarily complain if I didn't see a new console for the next 5 years.
Well, here's my thing about when people say that the Wii U is not necessarily the next generation of consoles.
Right.
The thing about it is, you have like something like The Witcher 2, which came out last year or 2 years ago. That was considered a really, really high-end game, like crazy graphics, things like that. And the thing about PC gaming is that there's nothing like limiting you as far as just you're not on a console, so you don't have to worry about, oh well, this is how much we can do. You pretty much just have the latest technology, because the consoles are pretty old technology-wise right now.
Right. They've been out for how long? Like 6 years, maybe?
Yeah, so, you have The Witcher 2, which is cutting-edge stuff, but the Xbox 360 could still run it. They released an Xbox 360 port, so I'm just thinking that maybe we're still here. Unless it's become something like, well, PC graphics are pretty much just being informed by the current graphics of consoles, but I don't think that's the case at all.
Right.
So
all right, so let's get back to predictions.
Okay.
You think
yeah, that's right.
you think that 720 will be announced, right?
Yeah, that's likely. I think they'll probably also have some smart glass stuff,
Right. Okay, and one thing about E3 that I kind of bugs me this year is I feel like Sony and Microsoft are going to focus purely on pushing their next consoles. Personally, I feel like they're going to announce the 720 and PS4. I don't think that's a question really right now. I think they're going to at least show something about them, and they're going to be busy pushing their next consoles while Nintendo's going to be busy pushing all of its games. That's kind of what I want to see from everyone though, like all around. I don't want to see them, strutting their consoles around and making a big deal about it. I want to see what games are coming out. And it seems like Nintendo's got a pretty clear runway for that.
Yeah, they're really one, because Nintendo's the only one that I would say really pushes their games right now, because last year Microsoft, Sony, they were just like, here are our apps, here's some social interactivity stuff, and Nintendo was kind of like that with the Wii every now and then, but now they're going more towards the games again, and Sony and Microsoft are kind of following the trend of, well, we gotta have these social interactivity things, because we found that people who buy our gaming consoles don't really game on them, so
Right.
yeah, let's offer up some stuff for them.
That's
So,
another
but-
thing. Like they're turning consoles into like an all-around multimedia device now, not
Yeah.
just games anymore. There's talk about like there's this. I think it's called the Roku in Japan. But it's actually a cable box, and people in Japan aren't paying for cable anymore or something. I'm not entirely 100% on that, but that's something I just heard in passing from a friend, and how consoles now are starting to sort of do that. I don't know if companies if cable companies are going to let them do that, or if they can even stop them from doing that. Because I know Nintendo's trying to cut deals with a lot of broadcasting companies to make DVR stuff work on the TV app. So.
Well, I don't know about that, but TV's great and all, but I guess consoles should be.
I feel
I'm
like
spacing out right now. I'm sorry.
yeah, I feel like they're losing focus on the whole gaming aspect of consoles and trying to focus too much on multimedia and social apps and all that junk.
Microsoft is especially probably the worst as far as first party content goes, because they
Right.
just have Halo and Gears of War, and those are good games, but they're not enough to really push you forward as far as exclusives go. Because they also have Alan Wake, but they're so terrible with Alan Wake. I think that's a great game, but they were just terrible with it. Because the first game came out on the same day as Red Dead Redemption, and they didn't do any real advertising for Alan Wake, so it has to go up against this Rockstar game, which has tons of hype, tons of just everything, and it just didn't sell that well. So, it's been 3 years since the game came out, and last year, all they can really get out of the franchise is a downloadable game. So
Right.
I mean, Microsoft is good at getting indie games on Xbox Live Arcade, but I don't know why they're not trying all that hard to get good first-party games that are different types of, like platformers or
Right.
RPGs and stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay. So, let's go more towards what our predictions about games. What games do you think they're going to show? I think it's pretty obvious from Nintendo. They're probably going to show footage for the next Smash Bros. Game and for the next Zelda game, and maybe a new Mario game too.
I think this might be a little ambitious for me, but I think maybe there will be. You know about the Earthbound series, right?
Right. Yeah.
Of course. I think perhaps there will be something Earthbound related.
That would have to be a really well guarded secret, because I haven't heard anything on
Yeah.
that front.
Here's what I think, because the recent Virtual Console, the Wii U Virtual Console, it lets you play NES games, SNES games, and Game Boy Advance games, and those are all the platforms that the three Mother/Earthbound games were on, which is kind of coincidental. And Japan is finally, for the first time ever, getting Earthbound on the Virtual Console, because there's been like legal troubles and all kinds of things. So
Right.
I think
Well, doesn't
maybe
Nintendo own it? Why would they have legal troubles over it?
the legal troubles stem from the fact that the music in the games are copyrighted, or 8-bit versions of like copyrighted songs like Johnny
Wow.
Be Good and stuff. So they apparently were just scared that someone was going to be like, hey, yeah, you can't really use that song in your game. I know we didn't
Wow.
notice it all those years ago, but now we have the internet to figure this stuff out and help us out. So
Right.
yeah, because I'm sure the kids playing Earthbound weren't going to be noticing and reporting to their lawyer dads that this game has Johnny Be Good in it. Go get Chuck Berry's lawyer and sue this guy and stuff. Okay.
All right. So, I really want to see a Wii U Pokemon game, a 3D Pokemon game, and I decided this myself after I saw this article. Some person out on the internet had made 3D renders of what a 3D Pokemon game on the Wii U might look like, and they use like the Pokemon Center as sort of like how in I'm already forgetting names. Nintendo Land. You know how in Nintendo Land there's that plaza area. Well, they were kind of suggesting that the Pokemon Center might serve the same social function as the Nintendo Land Plaza area, and yeah, it sounded like a pretty cool concept to me.
Yeah.
I think fans have been clamoring for a 3D console version of a Pokemon game for a while now.
I think that could come to because the 3DS is getting Miiverse eventually, so I think that could, because I think that'll definitely probably as a concept be in the next games, Pokemon X and Y. But I'm not against a 3D Pokemon game on the Wii U. That's a full adventure, not just a stadium type game. But it's just so hard for Nintendo to really. They've been sitting on the franchise for years, and Pokemon Coliseum has shown that it can be done. You just need to add the fucking roots in and have wild Pokemon, and that's pretty much it. You got your Pokemon adventure.
Right.
But
And
I think
they've shown that they can make pretty big worlds on the Wii U, and I don't think a Pokemon world would be that far of a stretch. I mean, they're talking about the next Zelda game having a temple the size of Hyrule Field was in Ocarina of Time. So
Yeah.
I don't think size is an issue for them.
Well, yeah, that's not the problem. It's just the fact that they just want to have this one big franchise that sells this one system. Because the thing about it is, actually, if you can play a Pokemon game on one console, then you're not going to get it for one, and then you have this split up between the two things. So they know Pokemon, without a shadow of a doubt, will sell this system, and they just haven't really tried it that much with the other ones, so they don't know if it will really work out. I don't know.
I don't know. It seems like Nintendo likes to drag their heels on a lot of things that fans want. Like, fans get, like, really... I guess in some cases, fans get really carried away with their imaginations, but in other cases, there are some really good ideas, like this 3D Wii U Pokemon game that people seem to want.
I'm looking at a picture of a Pokemon Center, and it says, "Here's what a Pokemon game on Wii U could look like." Is
Yeah, that's
this what you're talking
probably...
about?
Yeah, that's the article.
Okay. I'm not really seeing Mii's in there or anybody there though. So
Well,
where
right,
does it
but
say that?
in the article, it talks about how it could serve the same function as the Mii Plaza area.
Yeah. I definitely like to see that in. To me, the thing about the only reason why I'd probably want that on the Wii U is just because I watched the show as a kid. Pokemon, of course, being had an anime in the 90s, and that was my first exposure to Pokemon, and I was disappointed with the games as a kid, from a kid's perspective, because it was an adventure. I was going on this adventure and stuff, but it doesn't really pull you in. It doesn't really immerse you and stuff like that.
Right. It doesn't seem as it's just like, oh, I got to collect all these things and level them up and do all this stuff. It's more like an achievement type thing than an emotional type thing, is what you're saying.
Well, no, I just like, to me, on a console, because I'd love to have a companion join me on a journey, like that type of thing. Just like, if I might get into a double battle, like, I'd like to pick like a companion to come with me and join me on the journey. So
like sort of like MMO type thing.
Yeah, and also MMO too. Like, just share the journey with another character, like just Ash, because you're always alone in this game and stuff. I'd just like to have more character. I just like to feel like I'm not alone and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but also. Okay,
one thing that always frustrated me in Pokemon games is when I'm trying to grind my Pokemon to level them up, I'd either have to go to grass or I would have to go find trainers that I haven't battled yet. And adding in people from online who you can meet along the way to the next city, or you could go to somewhere and like battle them instead of just grinding against NPCs or whatever.
That's something that would make multiplayer battles, like, usually you'd go into the Pokemon Center, you'd go upstairs and say, hey, I want to do a Pokemon battle, and then you get a random battle with some Japanese player, and he kicks your ass. But with that, like you said, you just seamlessly see an online player, and then say, okay, you want to battle? And then, yeah, you battle. You have to go to the Pokemon Center.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah. I thought that's what you were saying, is you would have to go to the Pokemon Center, but yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be cooler if they could eliminate
I
that.
wasn't saying you have to go to the Pokemon Center, no matter what. That's what I want from my Pokemon game, to go to this one arbitrary location to fight people online. No, that's not what I was saying.
Okay, that would be annoying. Alright, and so... we're pretty much in agreement. We both want to see a Pokemon game, right?
Yeah.
For the Wii U.
But I just like to finish off. I just like to feel like the world was alive. Like I'd like to see
Right.
waterfalls. I'd like to see the Pokemon Center like in here, where there's just stuff that you could probably interact with.
Right. And
Just-
it'd be cool if they could create it and keep the same kind of feel that the normal like the already existing Pokemon games have, except for make it feel like it's a real world. I don't want to see the kind of quest system you see in normal MMOs, like, you know, go kill this many of this, go collect that many, you know, flowers or whatever and come back. I don't want to see quests like that. I want to see the normal Pokemon stuff you usually do, just with a more social spin to it.
Yeah. But you know, I am looking forward to the new 3DS Pokemon games.
Right,
I'm just
X and Y.
yeah, which like I mentioned before,
Well, wait,
it's
is that they just announced, or didn't they? They just came out with like Pokemon and Black, Pokemon White and Black, 2, right? And it kind of surprised me that they already announced it so soon after coming out with those.
here's basically what they did. They have a company. Okay, well, Game Freak makes the games, of course, but they apparently have two different units. One bigger unit makes the main games, like they create the Pokemon and all that stuff. But they also have a smaller unit now, which does the remakes and stuff. And I'm pretty sure they got that smaller unit to just make the sequel, and then the bigger unit was just working on fucking, you know, because
Maybe.
yeah, X and Y. So basically, yeah.
How was Pokemon White and Black 2, in your opinion? I haven't really played it. So.
Well, I know it's kind of retarded to say that I played it for the story, but yeah, that's kind of why I played it. Because I liked the story of N. I thought he was an interesting character.
Right.
And the
Well,
disappointing thing about
I heard Pokemon White and Black 1 was pretty epic as far as the story went.
yeah, because the cool thing about it is that near the end of the game, the gym leaders just come off as like Jedi Knights that keep the peace, and they show up and they fight all the Team Plasma members and stuff. Like they're
Right. And they're no longer just these characters that you have to beat and then move on from.
yeah, I like that aspect where they're just basically the police force of the Pokemon world and stuff like that. That was pretty interesting, but
All right. So
Yeah,
we got a little off track. More
Yeah.
so more predictions about I'm
Okay.
sorry to cut that off, but
yeah.
but for
okay.
time's sake, what do you think about the new Star Wars films?
Oh, well, of course we now know that J.J. Abrams is going to be directing it, which
Right.
I heard that I was just expecting that to be another, you know, rumor and stuff, because yeah, he's got Star Trek. There's
Yeah,
no
but,
reason why
I mean-
he
And it's already been confirmed, I guess. I hope they don't like just overkill it with lens flares.
Yeah, I remember seeing, because I saw Star Trek, of course, but then I remember seeing crap, why can't I remember? Super 8, yeah, which is another movie he directed, and
Right.
yeah, there's quite a few lens flares in that movie too.
I should have just
I
named
remember-
it Lens Flare, the movie.
Yeah, well, he wanted to make it seem like the future was just really bright and hopeful and stuff, but at the same
I guess.
time, it's got to be fucking horrible to your eyes.
Well, I don't know. It's like he's with lens flares what Michael Bay is with explosions. So.
Well, then again, I don't think lens flares are going to be happening in Star Wars
Right.
necessarily, because you know it's a dirtier world.
Right.
Like-
Well, that brings the question: what era do you think they're gonna do? Because they've done Luke Skywalker's era. I don't see them doing an Old Republic type thing, as much
Well-
as I want to see it done.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, we're talking about the new trilogy, but they're also doing the spin-off movies.
Right.
They're apparently going to do a Boba Fett movie and a young Han Solo movie.
I just hope those don't turn out like Ewok adventures.
Well, I like the idea of just side story movies. That's a neat idea. That's kind of what I wanted. And
I want to see
yeah,
them like as full size production movies, though. I don't want to see them be like just side projects.
when you have Boba Fett, you're gonna have something pretty awesome, right?
Right. Well, supposedly, but we don't know because they've handed it off to a whole new. They've handed off the whole franchise
Well,
to a new owner. So.
that's not true. I mean, they have a supervising producer who was, who was a co-writer for Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi.
Right.
And I'm not talking about George Lucas. I'm talking about, I think his name is Lawrence Kasdan. Let me see. I think.
Someone who can say more than faster, more intense.
Yeah. Let me see. Lawrence Kasdan. And it's funny because the directors of the other two movies in the trilogy, Irvin Kershner and the other guy. Who's the name of the guy who did Return of the Jedi? I don't even remember, but they're both dead now. So
Ah.
there's no other original directors that could really pretty much supervise it or just because it would have been great to have Irvin Kershner, because I think Empire Strikes Back is, as far as characters and just all the storytelling and stuff, is the best one because it's the most emotionally gripping. As far as, oh wow, nobody wins, and Darth Vader reveals that
Right.
he's the daddy and stuff, and everything is just, wow, Han Solo is gone. Whoa.
Right.
And just, yeah. Well, whatever. But
Well,
yeah.
but as far as era, though, you think this is gonna be like how? There's no question. This is probably gonna be after the original trilogy, right? So the question is how far after? Is this like near, like close to Cade Skywalker? Is it before him? Is this like the Solo and Skywalker children? God, I hope that's not the case. But
That's gonna be weird
yeah,
because if it does take place really close, like close enough to the original trilogy where the characters from the original trilogy are all still alive, except maybe Chewbacca, but who knows?
Right.
Maybe he'll still be alive somehow or something. Because
well, yeah,
it's gotta be hard because I'm assuming they're not going to retcon just the whole thing that's already established in the books and comics and games and stuff.
right.
So-
Hopefully they keep to the extended universe a little bit, or at least
Yeah.
enough to please the fans, the hardcore ones.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, they might just who knows? They might actually just take the original stories and just adapt them and just maybe change them up a bit. Like I'm talking about just the expanded universe stuff, like the
Right.
basic concepts. And just,
Right. Well, I just hope that they take some of the fan created stuff and use it, because a lot of it's really good, and not just the stuff that's like been confirmed canon. Like I've mentioned before, when we just talk like without vlogs or whatever, but how they have the different levels of Star Wars canon approved by Lucasfilm,
Yeah.
and they all have like sort of like how you have like movie ratings, like rated R, PG-13, that kind of thing. There's also ratings for canon, and
Yeah.
I hope they don't just ignore all the stuff below a certain rating.
Well, maybe they will.
I don't want them to
I mean,
ignore.
the
all of
movies
it.
do that. I mean, the movies did that before because Boba Fett used to be this journeyman Jaster Muriel character, and then
Right.
they said no, he was a little kid clone of Jango Fett. So okay, so yeah,
I hope not.
Totally changed Boba Fett in the expanded universe.
Right, but
so-
look at how kind of, I don't want to say they're bad stories, but look how broken some of the stories seem. Like in episode 1, a lot doesn't seem to make sense. As like what's point if viewers have watched the whole Red Letter Media stuff, it just completely pulls apart a lot of
Star
the.
Wars: The Phantom Menace is the worst thing since my son.
Right, basically, Red Letter Media just completely pulls apart all of the Star Wars movies, or at least the prequels. They pull them apart completely, and I feel like maybe that wouldn't have happened if they hadn't completely ignored some of the fan created content. I mean, I mean, it's at the point where there's so much content out there, you practically don't have to write anything anymore. It's written for you.
Well,
And
about
no one has copyright on it either, so it's just there for you people to use.
even fan created work. Are we talking about like the expanded universe, like the novels and the books, or stuff that was written online or something?
No. We're talking about the novels and books and stuff like that.
Okay, well,
And
there was nothing. There
is a certain amount of like online written stuff and speculated things that has been adopted into the novels and books and other expanded universe stuff. So stop. Why can't the movies do that?
There was nothing specifically about the Clone Wars before the prequels because they wanted to tell that in the movies and then have all the books. Oh crap! They wanted to just have the movies and then the books come out inspired by the movies and just sort of fill everything out. It's pretty much just what they wanted to do. I'd still love to see a cartoon based in the Galactic Civil War with the Rebels, because I'm fucking tired of the Clone Wars. It's just there's too much Clone Wars going on.
Right.
Clone Wars for 9.
And they need to. I feel like they should probably go back to the original cartoon Clone Wars that they aired on was it Toonami? Like before
No,
they
it was
had
just Cartoon Network in general. I remember they showed it on Cartoon Network Fridays, like they premiered.
Before they came out with all this 3D animation Clone War stuff. The original Clone Wars that looked like Samurai Jack, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was by Gendy Tartakovsky, but
right.
No, I think the Clone Wars cartoon is good story-wise. I mean, I'm not a fan of it visually, but like they've matured the story as it's gone along, because the show was kind of kiddie at first, but now it's getting darker.
Right.
So,
well, I
yeah,
mean, that's kind of how the Star Wars series is, though. Is it always seems kind of kiddie at first, and it gets darker.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to draw in the kids.
I mean, they went from Star Wars Episode 1 when there was a kid following them around to Star Wars Episode 3. I hate you! Burning in lava.
I hate you!
Yeah, I mean, it took it escalated pretty quickly. So they've been doing that pretty much all around, I guess. It's a common theme in Star Wars, or a common tactic as far as story goes.
I feel like we're going on with Star Wars a little too long, though, as far as the topic.
What do you think about the 1313 game, real quick, just before we end the Star Wars spiel?
I don't know. It seems like it could be good. I mean, it looks good visually, but from what I've seen gameplay-wise, I don't know. A lot of it seems scripted, maybe. I could be mistaken. It's been a while since I've seen gameplay of it. Like a lot of it seems like.
Well, they've only really revealed one thing, one bit of gameplay footage. So.
Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, I haven't seen that much of it, so. Yeah, but I'm assuming that it's still coming out, right?
Right. They're still probably working on it. I'm kind of wondering how they're handling the development with Star Wars being sold to Disney.
It's got to be slightly weird, because I don't know how much creative input Disney has. I don't think it's that much, really.
Right.
I think it's pretty much Disney bought Star Wars so they can say, you have to make a movie, and that's it. We're going to release the movie. That's it.
Right.
I don't think they have any creative input beyond that.
Maybe.
They're just like, make things that make us money, because we spent a lot of it on you guys, okay? You better not disappoint us. And that's
Alright.
pretty much it.
All right, so looking, you said it looks pretty good visually. Kind of makes me wonder, because it looks like something that might be beyond the PS3 or 360 graphics. Maybe it might work on the Wii U. I'm not sure. I'd hate to see it turn out just to be a PC thing, though.
Well, yeah, that.
And with the
I guess.
with the PS4 and 720 coming out, it could go on one of those, I suppose.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what they're doing, but